Welcome back. In a previous video, I said,
I wonder if a Nuka-Cola build would be viable.
and I thought about it and figured, since this past weekend was 4th of July, it's a patriotic time of year, what better way to celebrate than the most American and patriotic of all beverages, Nuka-Cola. So I decided to try and see if I could do an all Nuka-Cola build. That means the only consumables I use are Nuka-Cola variants and Nuka-Cola mixes, and I tried to use only Nuka-Cola themed gear and weapons. And I'm going to say that I achieved mixed results. I think 2 out of 3 I did pretty good. There are some very obviously good options for equipment, and when you see the kind of options there are for healing, you'll never use a stim pack again. But as far as weapons, well, we'll get to that. So first, let's talk about Nuka-Cola. All right, so you can't talk about Nuka-Cola without talking about the Nuka-Cola mixer station. There are 4 variants, and the only difference is this sign at the top. They're all identical. The only thing that changes is the sign. They all work exactly the same. So just pick your favorite picture. I went with Quantum because I like it. But what this allows you to do is mix a whole assortment of different recipes. And you can see this one, wow, uses carrot flour. And it lets you mix a whole assortment of recipes. There's, I think, 20 in total. But the great thing about this machine is that it only requires steel and rubber. So you can craft this thing right out of the vault, like immediately. You walk out of the vault, scrap a few piles of tires, scrap one of the houses, and you can build one of these. And you can start mixing sodas right away because there's Nuka-Colas right here in Sanctuary. I know that there's Nuka-Colas and Nuka-Cherries in town. And you start with 5 recipes. It's not like you walk up to this and you have no recipes. And this one right here, Nuka-Cola, which uses 1 cherry and 1 cola, and this is right away. This restores 200 hit points and 50 action points. And this is basically a full heal until you're like level 30. You play most of the game with only about 200 hit points. This is not a lot. And even later on, when you get up to 300, 400, 500 hit points, 2 of these is still going to fill your bar. For most of the game, this is better than a stim pack. And because it's over time, it's like don't think of it as bad healing. Because if you try to compare it to a stim pack, yes, obviously stim packs are going to heal you way faster. In some cases, I'll get to that. But this one, think of it as a short-term regeneration. When you're down to half health, you don't use 1. You use like 3. Because then you can run out into combat, and they're going to keep shooting at you, and you're healing faster than they're damaging you. The other one, Nuka-Free, is even better, because it's just a dirty water and a Nuka-Cola, and at low level, I'd say before level 10, this is a full heal. And you'll notice, there's no rads. Most of these, if they don't heal rads, like the Nuka-Fruity, there's another one that uses the grape. The grape one is the one that heals rads. So anything with grape in it is going to heal some rads. But most of them don't have... There's no rads in any of these. But the mixing station is not the only thing that you want to look at when you're talking about Nuka-Colas. Probably one of the best ones in the game is not a mix. And that's the Nuka-Cola Victory. This heals you for 840 hit points just by itself. But with Nuka Grape, you can see, just by itself, it heals 400 rads. So this is, the Nuka Grape and Nuka Victory are probably the 2 best base Nuka-Colas in the game. This is Buddy, short for Drinking Buddy, as you can see on his face there. And you get him from a quest that is started in the Rexford Hotel in Good Neighbor. Now, this is an optional quest, you don't have to do it. But for this build, I went and did it because Drinkin' Buddy has the ability to give you ice-cold Nuka-Colas and ice-cold variants of Nuka-Colas.
I'll take a beer.
Cold and refreshing.
Now, he will still produce beer from time to time, but as you can see, I've got several variants of Nuka-Colas in here. Like this one, that's an extra 50 hit points. That's 250. That's really nice. And this is something you can get Drinking Buddy pretty early on in the game because you don't actually need to start the quest. Look at this. Nuka Quantum normally heals 400. Ice Cold Nuka Quantum heals 650. Now keep in mind, if you make Ice Cold Nuka-Cola Quantum, you can't use it to make like Nuka Nukes and stuff. For whatever reason, if it's cold, it's no longer viable as an option. I think it's because this in the programming, this is a different item than regular Nuka-Cola. So these are only good for healing now. You can't use them to make ammunition. But look at the Nuka-Cola Victory. Ice Cold Nuka-Cola Victory heals over 1,000 hit points. That's incredible. So the next thing I want to talk about is Attire. Now, obviously, early on, when you first come out of the vault, you got your vault suit. Fortunately, with the new update that they did, where they added in all of the Creation Club? When they added all the Creation Club content, they added the ability to change the color of vault suits. So I made mine red, and I really like this red and gold look. And one other side note on this, if you get some like metal armor or some combat armor and you put the Pikmin paint job on it, the Pikmin paint job is mostly red and orange with hints of yellow, and it pairs with this color setup, this red and gold, very nicely. They complement each other very well. It looks like one continuous outfit. It looks really sharp. I really liked it. When I got to Nuka World, I obviously switched out for a Nuka World t-shirt, because this gives you a +1 to luck, and it's more fitting with the theme. And late game, of course, you have your choice of the Nuka-Cola Quantum Armor or the Nuka-Cola Armor. They're optional. I did use the Nuka-Cola Armor for a bit, in particular when I was making a video that I'll talk about in a little bit that's going to come out tomorrow. And especially when you're looking at these like Nuka World outfits, there's a lot of options when it comes to attire. Now, the thing, obviously, that I went for, the Nuka World jumpsuit. This was the end goal for me. I wanted to do the jumpsuit and the cappy glasses, and I went with the red hair to keep the red theme going. But let's take a look at this. So, this jumpsuit, unlike a normal jumpsuit, comes with a little bit of radiation resistance and 2 points of damage resistance. So when you put the ballistic fiber into it, it's actually pretty decent. And it also gives you +1 intelligence for more XP, and it gives a +1 to perception. So very quickly, I just wanted to touch on this. There are 15 collectible recipes that you can get. You don't necessarily need to get all of them. I just collected them for completeness sake. I do have a video coming out tomorrow that is a brief guide for all the locations if you do want to collect them all. It shows you where all 15 of them are found. Last but not least, let's talk about weapons. Now, this is quite a mixed bag when it comes to your arsenal of weapons here, because these are all of them are very, very powerful. So first, obviously, we have the Nuka Quantum Grenades. These are very, very powerful. Do not use them near you, obviously. I mean, more so than other explosives. Like, these will kill you in one shot. Even at ranges that you think like, oh, I'll just get hurt, but I won't die. No, you'll die. Same thing with the Nuka-Nuke launcher. This is the highest base damage weapon in the game. I think it's something like 2,000 damage. It's like an absurd amount of damage. It's like way more than you'll ever need. But it's fun. And then, of course, there's the Thirst Zapper. And the Thirst Zapper has 3 levels. And all of these weapons, including the Thirst Zapper, they all use demolition, because the Thirst Zapper fires explosive rounds. So the 3 stages of the Thirst Zapper are Nuka-Cola, Nuka-Cherry, and Nuka-Quantum. And they do significant upgrades of damage on each one. I mean, this little Thirst Zapper, when you have the Nuka-Quantum, really packs a punch. Just to give you guys an example, I decided to go and film myself trying to defeat Swan with the Thirst Zapper. Now, first I went and did it on normal difficulty, and I one-shotted him. I thought, that's too easy. So this footage that you're seeing here, you saw at the beginning, it was on very hard difficulty. I shot him twice. 2 times. 2 shots. Boom. And boom. And I killed Swan on very hard. So then I started thinking, well, let me see if I can find something bigger to kill. And I went down to Murkwater Construction because there's a guaranteed Mirelurk Queen out there. And again, 2 hits and she's dead. This is a very powerful weapon. Drawback number 1 is abysmal firing rate. You saw this gun fires, you load it once and it fires once and then you got to reload it, and the reload is slow and there's no way to make it faster. Same thing with the Nuka-Nuke launcher. These weapons are very slow. They pack a punch, though obviously the trade-off is that they're slow. The second problem that they have, as with all explosions, splash damage. If your target is too close to you when the bomb hits them, or when the blast from the thirst zapper hits them, you can and will kill yourself. I have killed myself with this gun many times because it's just such a massive amount of damage. If you look, thirst zapper does 875 damage per shot. That's insane. That's not how much ammo I have. That's how much damage it does per shot. That's more than a missile launcher. That's like 2 missiles. And then, of course, the Nuka grenade does 751. And let's take a look at what the Nuka launcher does. 1,700. These are incredibly powerful weapons. Probably the biggest and most crippling drawback of all. It's actually got a third drawback. And this is the deal breaker. You know, this is the one that's going to make you go, I don't want to use this weapon. The ammunition. If you think the cryolator is starved for ammo, these Nuka weapons, oh my god. To make one weaponized Nuka-Cola ammo, this is an ammo for the thirst zapper. To make one of these, you use an entire bottle of Nuka-Cola Quantum, and you get 1 load, 1 reload, 1 shot. Each shot is a bottle of Nuka-Cola Quantum. And yes, you're getting the destructive force out of this Nuka-Cola Quantum of a grenade or a nuke. But Nuka-Cola Quantum is so hard to come by. It's so rare. When you do find a vendor that's selling it, they have like 1. If you're lucky, you know, they've got 2. But most of the time, you don't find vendors that are selling the ammo for this. This is, I ain't gonna lie to you. You see I have 879 ammo here? I had to use a console command to give myself that ammo. I did not find 800, I did not find 1,000, because, I mean, I got all that, but then I made all of these, I made this one, I made all the ammo for the nuke, so there's like 1,000, I would have to have had like 1,000 Nuka-Cola Quantums. There aren't that many in the game. This is a build that's time, and there are options. You could switch the thirst zapper to Nuka Cherry, and that is way more common. Still not like common, still uncommon, but way more easy to acquire than Nuka-Cola Quantum. And you could save the Quantum for making some grenades and some Nuka nukes, because the mini nukes are already hard enough to come by. So getting the Nuka nukes, and these, I mean, let's be real, if you only use these on things like Mirelurk Queens and Super Mutant Behemoths and stuff like that, like really big stuff. You don't use Nuka nukes on common rabble unless you've got like a big crowd of monsters. Now, the thirst zapper, what I like to do with the thirst zapper, there's a little technique that I like to use, and you'll notice that I put the jetpack on the Nuka-Cola suit. And the reason I did that is because what I'll do is I'll go and kite a bunch of what I'll do is I'll go... So you might notice I put the jetpack on the Nuka-Cola suit. And I did that for a reason. Because what I'll do is I'll kite a bunch of monsters around. Whether it's Deathclaws or Scorpions or, you know, Mirelurks or whatever. And I'll get them all to come toward me. And right when they start to get close, I fly up as high as I can and shoot... and shoot the thirst zapper straight down underneath me. And it wipes out almost everything. And anything that survives, boom, when I land, finishes them off. It's a really nice 1-2 punch. But the problem here is all of these are great weapons, but they're slow. None of these are primary weapons. These are all, backup weapon, grenade weapon. There's no, like, these are situational, like a sniper rifle. This suite of weapons lacks a workhorse gun, like Deliverer, like an automatic shotgun, like, like a Western revolver, something that is it's the gun you start every dungeon with in your hand. It's your main weapon. There's no main weapon here. These are backup weapons. The Thirst Zapper is really only good outdoors. You can't really use it indoors because if you're in a closed space, this thing goes off anywhere in the room with you, you're going to die. So there's no workhorse weapon here. Now I thought about, there are 2 melee weapons that I would technically count as Nuka-Cola weapons. And I'm stretching the definition here because only one of them actually uses Nuka-Cola in any way. And that's on the final upgrade. So the 2 melee weapons are the Kami Whacker, which does not even use Nuka-Cola, but you get it at the Nuka-Cade. So I kind of counted that. You get it in Nuka World from a Nuka-themed ride or space. So I counted that. But the damage is abysmal even when you upgrade it with the blades. Then there's the Paddle Ball with the Nuka-Cola Quantum upgrade. But even at that maxed out upgrade, it only does, I think it does 100 damage. I tested it, and it took me 4 shots to kill a deer. Granted, that was on very hard mode, but if you're trying to do a build like this on very hard mode, and it takes 4 shots to kill a deer, you're not killing anything else bigger than a deer with that thing. You're just not. Super mutants are going to stomp you. And it also does explode, so there's a little bit of a radius on it, so you need a little bit of range. It's not like with Deliverer or a 10mm pistol or a Western revolver where, yeah, it's a ranged weapon, but you could still get right up in your enemy's face and shoot them with it and it won't hurt you. The Nuka Quantum upgraded paddle ball can hurt you if you're too close, but it also has a short range. It's only got a range of 5 feet. So it's got a very specific range of efficacy. If you're too close or too far away, it's a useless weapon. So there's no workhorse weapon in this suite of weapons. There's a lot of great stuff here, a lot to talk about, a lot of fun stuff, but there's no workhorse weapon. Now I did come up with a solution for this, but I'm not going to talk about it here because it's not really part of this build. It's not Nuka-Cola themed. And I think I might do another build just around that weapon because I loved that weapon. I'd never used it before extensively, and it was amazing. It was so fun. And it's got a cool feature on it that I really want to explore. In talking about these weapons, we also need to talk about how to unlock them. So we have the Project Cobalt schematics, and these are the Nuka-Nuke schematics. Now these are located. This is Nukatown, USA. No, this is Nukatown, USA right here, right? The schematics are going to be in a building right about here. And you have to do the Cappy quest to unlock them because they are inside of Brad Burton's vault. And you can only get them after Brad Burton dies. And I'll add something at the end of the video here to talk about how to get all the stuff in Brad Burton's vault and the Nuka World jumpsuit. It's pretty straightforward. But then the other ones, the Project Cobalt is up here in the Nuka powering plant way at the back over here in an underground bunker. It's not a vault. It's just a sealed off area that you can't get into until you've gone way over here. It's off the map where you have to go. It's like over in this area is the power plant. You have to turn the power back on. And then you can go down into this area and get the plans for Project Cobalt. You need the Nuka-Nuke schematics to make Nuka-Nukes. And that's also where you get the Nuka-Nuke launcher. Although you can modify other Batman launchers with the Nuka-Nuke launcher mod. So like you could find one that has instigating, or you could find one that has two-shot and have an instigating Nuka-Nuke launcher, because the Nuka-Nuke is a mod on the launcher. The launcher itself is not a Nuka-Nuke. It's a regular launcher modified to launch Nuka-Nukes. So you could put that modification on other Nuka launchers. Instigating's insane, because then you've got a weapon that does 3,000 damage in a shot. I mean, at that point, you're talking about one-shotting basically everything. I don't think there's anything in the game that could take one shot from a Nuka launcher, especially if it's from stealth, because then it's doubled again to 6,000. 6,000 damage in one shot? Nothing is surviving that. That's the Nuka schematics. The Project Cobalt schematics is so that you can make the weaponized Nuka-Cola ammo, and I think that's also how you make the Nuka Quantum grenades. To get all of these weapons unlocked, you need both Project Cobalt and the Nuka schematics. But they're not terribly difficult, because you don't need to complete all the park stuff. All you need to do is turn the power back on. So if you just go and do open season and take out the leaders right away when you come out of the vault, which if you plan for it is easy. What I like to do is just go around to all the different leaders of the and just put mines everywhere, because since none of the gangs are hostile, they don't set the mines off. So I just go over and into the 3 locations. One's here, one is right here, and then one is over here under Nuka Mountain. And just put mines everywhere. Just get like 200 landmines. And just mine everywhere. Because then you go and into the first area, and I like to start with the Cappy Cafe, because the woman that works in there, she sells a lot of nice stuff. She sells a lot of Nuka-Cola variants. She sells whiskey, and she sells Dirty Wastelanders. And so I like to try to keep her alive. And if the raiders are already hostile when you walk in there, they won't shoot you. They'll shoot all of the civilians in the room first and then attack you. So it's better to go in there to start killing everything, to take them out first. In the Cappy Cafe, which is right about here, I show you the location of the Cappy Cafe in the video that's coming out tomorrow. And then when you come out of there, after you've killed all the raiders in there, you just hear boom, 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 everything going off all at once, right? And it makes it way easier, because instead of trying to fight dozens and dozens of raiders, you're fighting like 4. But so what I did was I just took out the bosses, so then you don't need to do the parks. You can just take out the bosses, turn the power back on, and go up here and get the Project Cobalt schematics. You can skip all of this nonsense. And you get a lot of Nuka-Cola from the bottling plant. And like an entire case of Nuka-Cola Quantum. There's like, no joke, like 32 Nuka-Cola Quantums up in there. So the bottling plant is like a gold mine for Nuka-Cola. Okay, so if you've ever seen me do one of these videos before, you know that this is not something I've done before. And normally I create these spreadsheets and then I put them in the doobly-doo at the bottom of the video where you guys can download it and look at it. And I did 2 things. First off, I added this section right here, right? This whole section is new. So I wanted to go over that and explain it, but also I felt like the way I was doing it before was kind of haphazard. Whereas with this, you can see line by line every perk that I take in order. Early on, I got Lone Wanderer, I got Toughness, I got Armorer, I got Rad Resistance, I got Adamantium Skeleton. You can see I put a lot of emphasis on defensive and bolstering the character's defense early on, which is why I even have a 10 endurance at character creation. I wanted to make this character as tough and durable as possible, because this is a demolition build. This character, right from the get-go, exclusively uses explosives. At the very start of the game, like, you're going to use that 10mm or the 9mm pistol that you get in the vault until you find some explosives. And it doesn't take long, because there's 2 grenades in the trash can right at the exit of Sanctuary. And from there, you're going to want to use Molotov cocktails. For the first, like, 20%, 30% of the game, that's your main weapon, is Molotov cocktails. And doing it this way was actually kind of fun for me, restricting myself to just explosives, because it got exciting for me every time I killed a raider to, like, search their body to see if they had some, because that's the main way you get Molotov cocktails, is looting them from dead raiders. One particular perk that I want to point out is Adamantium Skeleton. Adamantium Skeleton is especially important for this build, because since this was kind of a challenge build, like to only use Nuka-Cola as our only consumable, there's no way to heal damaged limbs other than to just wait it out. And if you're in the middle of the fight and your legs are broken, no, that's not going to work. So by taking adamantium skeleton as quickly as possible, which 26 is the earliest you can get level 3, it makes it so that from that point forward, you don't need to worry about your limbs being crippled. All you got to do is heal your health bar. And Nuka-Cola could do that really well. So, also, there's, in addition to the defensive stuff early on, I also focused on utilitarian perks, like locksmithing, like hackers. Caps collector is another one. Later on, we started going into science. Now, I put gun nut at the very end because the only thing you really need gun nut for in this build is the thirst zapper. Gun nut really doesn't do anything for explosives, so I kind of leaned away from that and preferred to lean more into demolition. And that's why I put bloody mess ahead of gun nut as well, because bloody mess does something for explosives. Gun nut really kind of does it. That's really, and the same thing with the science as well. Although you do need science for other things like the jetpack on the power armor. So I put that a little bit further ahead of gun nut because I think this build just really, it doesn't need gun nut. I put it here because I do eventually want it on the build for one specific weapon, but it's not urgent. So I put it at the end. And then I put Aqua Girl at the very end here. I just to have it because it's nice to have, it's convenient. So there is one rank up of luck that you have to take before you take Bloody Mess. And that's what these red dots are. These red dots let you know that at this level, you need to have acquired a specific bobblehead. And then it tells you which one. So by level 21 of this build, you have to have the perception bobblehead, which is easy because you get it at Concord at like level 5. For science, you need to have the intelligence one by level 32, which again, it's easy to get it by then because it's in the library. So all you got to do is kill a couple super mutants to get to it. It's not hard. And then for luck, by 43, it's just out there on Spectacle Island. There's not really even anything protecting it except a couple Mirelurks. So getting the luck bobblehead by level 43 is really easy. So let me go over this section right here real quick. Obviously, you have your special attributes here. This is what you're at. You're starting. This is at level 1. These are your starting attributes. Your special book, I put into perception. Bobbleheads. Now there's green and red dots here. The red ones are mandatory for the build. The green ones are optional. You can get them. I did, and that's why I put them on here. These two are the ones that I got for this build that I didn't need to have them, but I picked them up because it was nice to have them. This is the settlement object. I got a haircut. I changed my character's hairstyle, and she got a +1 from that. And I never used any other settlement object, so it just stuck with for the rest of the playthrough. It's green because it's optional. It's not important. There was no mandatory need for the settlement object, so I just left it on charisma. And then I had one level up for luck at level 38 to put it up to a 3 after we get the bobblehead. So you get the level 38, you level up, and then you've got 5 levels to pick up the luck bobblehead before you get the first Bloody Mess rank. But yeah, that is how this works. This is how you read this. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments. Let me, if you have any questions on how this works. But yeah, this is the level progression. We start with a major focus on defense and then slowly transition into utility and offense. Last thing I want to cover before closing, I'm going to show you, as promised, how to get Sierra Petrovita's jumpsuit and all the stuff in the vault. It's actually quite simple. So what you want to do when you get to this point is you accept Sierra's offer, right?
I won't shut the power off.
Thank you, thank you, thank you! You're doing the right thing! After all, this is a great man. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have...
Yeah. Okay, so now we got our jumpsuit. All right. Now, just shut off the power. And you get both rewards. But Sierra is going to go hostile when that happens.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I did him a favor. So yeah, that is the Nuka-Girl build. All in all, I felt like it was kind of hit or miss. I still wanted to put out this episode, even though I don't really feel like I fully reached my goal, because I put a lot of effort into this, and I feel like there is a good build in here, and it just needs a few tweaks, but that I would have to go a little bit outside of the Nuka-Cola stuff. The main thing is there's no workhorse gun. There's no workhorse weapon. So I'd need to bring something in, and I have some ideas on what I could do with that. I've got a couple of videos coming out. I have one coming out tomorrow that is going to be a guide for all of the locations of the Nuka recipes. And then I have another video that's going to be coming out that's going to be a companion piece to this one. I'm not going to do a playthrough like I did with my other builds. I felt like it kept me away from doing more interesting stuff. So I'm just going to make one companion video where I can just, in rapid succession, hit all the quick pieces of how to really squeeze the most out of this. And I'm going to include a lot of my suggestions on how to tweak this build to really get the most out of it. But for now, thanks for checking out my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.